He is a senator from New Hampshire, Gregg, their former governor as well. Senator, welcome to the program.
Tom, nice to be on. Thanks.
You look, Senator, at the emotion here. You have a House that will go Republican. Some would suggest maybe the Senate. Republicans need to be on their best behavior here in the next 30, 60 days. What should be the GOP prescription?
Well, I don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, but it does look very positive out there. And should we take the House and hopefully take the House and the Senate, then I think we should move forward on the agenda the American people are asking for, which is to control spending, work to bring the deficit down, and work to bring the debt down in the out years. And that means making some very difficult but very important decisions in the area of the spending accounts, primarily the entitlement accounts, and probably fundamental tax reform, which would help the economy grow and give people a better sense that we had a tax law that makes sense rather than the chaos that we have right now.
I see in the backdrop, Senator, to your set there, the scenic, was that Concord or Manchester?
That's Manchester, yeah.
That's Manchester, New Hampshire. And there was a time where there was great adversity there. New Hampshire got by on a tax advantage to Massachusetts, but there had to be something else. If we're going to get labor recovery in America, how do we do it based on the New Hampshire experience?
Well, when I was governor here, and for a long time, always consider ourselves to be a refugee camp for entrepreneurs in New England. So if you start a little business down in Massachusetts or Connecticut or Maine, and it got to a size where the government was just overwhelming you with regulations and costs through taxation, you moved to New Hampshire and operated here. And that was an atmosphere which we promoted. Basically an attitude that the way you keep an economy prosperous is to create jobs, and the way you create jobs is by giving individuals who are the job creators. Government is not the job creator, which somebody needs to explain to this Congress and this president, because they seem to think government creates wealth, and it doesn't. And government creates prosperity, and it doesn't. Prosperity and wealth are created by individuals going out and taking risks and creating jobs. We gave them incentives to come to New Hampshire and be job creators, but with a low tax, low regulatory environment, and an understanding that we should be supportive, not confrontational.
Senator, we just put up here a chart that I know you have tattooed to your brain. Outstanding U.S. debt, more. This is a dreaded first chart, and for Gregg folks, this is dreaded. Almost up to $14 trillion on outstanding U.S. debt. Okay, Concord Coalition, Pete Peterson, and the rest, nothing's worked so far. What do we need to do to finally make debt responsibility an action part of the U.S. Political economic landscape?
Well, first we have to be honest with the American people. Actually, the American people are well ahead of the Congress on this, and acknowledge the fact that our present course is totally unsustainable and will lead us to a fiscal bankruptcy. We'll end up being like a banana republic. We'll be worse off than Greece. Our debt to GDP ratios will hit 100% within the next 7 years. That's a level that is unsustainable and basically leads you to fiscal calamity. And we also have to be honest and say and point to where the problem is. The problem is on the spending side of the ledger. The size of the federal government, which has historically been 20% since the end of World War II, has now grown to 24% in the last 2 years and is headed towards 28%. And it's all a function of an explosion in spending driven by two factors.
Okay, go ahead. Please, Senator, go ahead.
There are two factors here. One is the Obama philosophy that we should move to a social democratic welfare state along the lines of Europe. And the second is our aging population, the demographic shift. And we've just got to step up and say, well, quite honestly, we can't afford this size government. We've got to bend that curve down.
Senator, we saw two Republican presidents throw out the first ball last night, Bush Sr. and the recent President Bush. They didn't show a spending frugality, did they?
Unfortunately, the last time that we controlled the Congress and the presidency, we did not do a good job on disciplining spending, especially with the Medicare Part D passage, which was a huge expansion in liability for a country that wasn't paid for. We've got to do a better job. And there's no choice now. You know, I mean, the simple fact is that this isn't an event that's over the horizon any longer. This is a major train headed at us. It's no more than 3 to 6 years off when we basically have probably an unstable currency because the world looks at us and says, hey, you've got so much debt, you can't pay it back. And therefore, our currency comes under huge pressure, and we either have to inflate our currency, which the Fed appears to be trying to do right now, or alternatively, we're going to have to massively raise taxes, which reduces productivity and reduces job growth.
Well, Let's leave it there. Senator Gregg, thank you so much, from New Hampshire,
Thank you.
retiring, and be interesting to see where he lands. Maybe the Concord Coalition, that sounds like a Judd Craig kind of board position. We'll have